Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie, Dip&ChewGuy, and this is P.S.A. number 10. This P.S.A. will be in the upload feed because I am going to put it public. That said, 8 and 9 were sent straight to playlist this past week. Alright? I'm going to try yet again to make this a little slower. I have started working outside. I do have some stressors going on at the moment, and I am recording very late. So if I seem a little thrown off, there's also some computer issues, which I'm not quite sure what's going on. Thus, if you have just seen my last review, I did let that get a little bit away from me. The Amarillo Snuff Vanilla went 5 minutes longer than I even realized. That all said, I'm just going to cover a couple points here because this, for those that don't know, the P.S.A. is public service announcement, and it is about the coronavirus, which I from now on will be referring to as the CCP virus. That is the Chinese Communist Party virus, because they are in large part to blame for the situation we find ourselves in today. So in this video, this one here, I'm not going to go over too much news. All right. Some points that should be pointed out is New York City is in dire straits. New York State is not well itself. California and Washington are going along. Washington, as in the state, are going along in their steady downhill or up slope pattern, depending which way you want to look at it. All three of the states, New York State, Washington State, and California, the National Guard has been mobilized at or by the order of the president. The president has been holding press briefings daily with his coronavirus task force. Usually they are somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 o'clock. I am usually still working at that period, so I'm not exactly sure the time, but you may want to check into that. Otherwise, as far as here in the description of this video, now I do not put the PayPal up in these, I do not put the Patreon page links. In the description of this video, there will be something, though. It is the website I use, the case tracker that I use from Johns Hopkins Engineering. I will leave that link in the description of this video. You need to prepare for what is coming here, because it may take, depending on the person, a mental toll. And I'm going to say it already is starting to with myself. Now, as far as myself, I have seen in my time some pretty god-awful stuff. All right? And I am fairly unflinching, at least at this point. But even I am a little bit about what is coming here. And what I am meaning by that is we are going to have a quickly accelerating death count. And you should probably get straight in your head or bring some sort of normalization to the idea to yourself to mentally prepare for this. So, as of last Thursday, that was on the 19th, and this is just to show you what I am talking about here. Last Thursday was the 19th. At that time in the United States, there had been 215 deaths. They had come in on some days a couple. On some days there had been between 10 and 20. There were a couple 20 days, and there had been at least one, possibly two, in the 30s. But up to the 19th, it had all been 33 or less per day, to the best of my knowledge. All right? They had been trickling in at first. It had been coming in since the first evacuees had been brought back from China, which was in very early February. So last Thursday, which was the 19th, there were 215 deaths. By the next day, on the 20th, there were 285. Okay? 60 deaths on the 20th. On the 21st, which was this past Saturday, we were up to 360 deaths. There had been 75 deaths that day. Come on Sunday, the 22nd, we were up to 471. There had been 111 deaths that day. 23rd, we were up to 610. 139 deaths. And then the day that we just got passed through, it is now 2:38 in the morning of the 25th. But yesterday, the 24th, we got up to 797. There were 187 deaths in the United States yesterday due to this illness. And this is going to keep climbing. And it's going to keep climbing, I believe, for a while. By mid to late next week, I am anticipating, mentally preparing myself for days, repeated days, where the death count in this country is at least 1,000. All right? And that could go on for a little while. We do not know how this is going to go, because the only country that has supposedly peaked and is coming back down, supposedly, is China. And let me tell you right now something about China. In January and February, this past January and February, 21 million cell phone users' cell phones got turned off. Cell phones are very important in China, especially during this disease outbreak, because the person that tries to travel has on their cell phone their status. It's either green, you're good, yellow, they're not sure, or red, you're infected. This has to be shown at checkpoints. So you need your cell phone. Well, 21 million cell phone accounts got shut down thus far this year in China. Which carrier picked all those people up? That is not clear. If we go by our government, they're obviously scared of something, okay? I am going to put forth a theory as to what has scared the hell out of them. I do not know it to be true. It is a theory. It is my opinion that this theory is correct, but nothing is proven. My idea is that our government is really scared because of satellite footage over China. Now, we did hear that there were crematoriums putting off huge plumes. This is true, but I'm wondering if that's not everything that our satellites have picked up. Because in the case of Iran, our satellites were able to pick up a daily, day by day, of a cemetery outside Qom, Iran, filling up. What could we possibly have seen over China? Plus, I've come to find out that the Chinese, besides their normal crematoriums, mobilized 43 to 46 mobile crematoriums, whatever the hell that means. Some sort of mobile ovens, 40 some of them, got placed around the Hubei province where Wuhan is and have been burning around the clock for upwards of 2 months now. All of this said, you yourself need to prepare mentally for a mass casualty event. Something that is going to make, by the end of it, 9/11 look like nothing. Absolutely nothing. It'll be spread out more. It won't be the horror of watching people jumping out of the towers to their deaths. But in a different way, it will take a toll on you, whether you are like me and sort of, well, we'll stiff upper lip it and carry on, or if maybe you're not set up like that. Women that may be watching this, or your wives, girlfriends, or whatnot, that is another aspect. It takes an emotional toll on them differently from us, I believe. And they may feel it more intensely than some of us do. But you want to prepare for that. Now, as far as what you should be doing, it's a little late in the game at this point to try to stock food. If you do, or if you're able to, for whatever reason, you want to buy cans. I would say freeze-dried, but all that is long sold out. Okay? Canned food, I'll tell you what I go with. I go with Campbell's chili. Usually I go with the spicy version, but I believe I have the mild version too. It's the 2 serving size can, 1 serving for me, and most of you as well, but 2 serving size can with the pull top lids. Those and Beanie Weenie, the single serving small cans with the pull top lid. Beanie Weenie is always good because it has a elevated protein count because of the Vienna sausages in it, and also technically it can be consumed without heating if needed, necessary, or if you're in a situation like that. Lysol all-purpose cleaner, if you can get it, get it. Rubbing alcohol, something that has completely disappeared in my part of the country, is good too, but do not use that on painted surfaces. Well, painted surfaces that you value anyway. All of this stuff, before going out for it, before you go, oh my God, we got to go get this stuff now because, number one, it's probably already gone. But if it's not, take inventory at your house before you go out. Okay? You may be surprised what you have tucked away in a cabinet or a drawer somewhere that you sort of forgot about. And you're going to feel really stupid if you go out and buy something and come back and find out you already had one. All right? Regular all-purpose cleaners like Lysol, they do kill this. They are strong enough. Rubbing alcohol is sort of surefire, but you're limited as to what you can use it on. Rubbing alcohol can take a finish off something real quick. All right? And that's even powder-coated paint stuff. Stuff that you do buy out, you want to possibly spray down when you get home. And that's part of the reason why I keep it to 2 different kinds of cans. The big ones I know are Campbell's chili. The small ones I know are Beanie Weenie. That's because the last run I made, which was after this stuff really started going down in my area, I ripped off the labels and trashed them when I got home and sprayed down the cans with rubbing alcohol. All right? And precautions like that, this virus is alive up to 9 days on hard, solid surfaces, which means anything that's not hard and solid, it could be alive for longer than. So anything bringing into the house from outside, especially if it's in a store that has been high traffic, you may want to spray down before you bring it in. Besides that, hand washing. Now, you go by everything the government is saying, okay? But then you add on layers of protection on top of that. That is very important. The government is not telling you everything that you should be doing. They're not telling you all the fail-safes. The reason they're not is because they're trying to quell panic, which is the right thing to do in a way, because if there was mass panic in the extreme because of a press conference the government held telling you you need to wear masks at all times, that thing that we were just saying, save them for medical workers, yeah, what we meant was you need to be wearing a mask, which you do, could cause a mass panic in which ultimately in urban environments lives could be lost, and those lives would be on our government, not the communist Chinese. And that is why. So there is a way. Part of what the government does and says is limited and staged because they're not trying to cause a panic, nor are they trying to completely collapse our economy. Because again, if the economy completely collapsed, which it very well may still do, again, there could be civil unrest, and again, lives lost. So the government, as I said in one of the previous, probably multiple previous videos, they're walking a real fine line here, okay? They don't have room to diverge either direction. So do everything they say. If they are suggesting it, it's a good idea. But you may want to put steps on top of that. Masks. Me personally, I have hand eczema. For those newer to the channel that don't know, older people will know. I cannot use hand sanitizer repeatedly on my hands. So I did source, a couple weeks ago now, surgical gloves. All right? And I put them on if I'm going out into a store, and then I use the hand sanitizer on the gloves. The hand sanitizer, I mean, I'll be bleeding if I use that more than once. So gloves are not going to be able to be found at this point. Tight-fitting dishwashing gloves could serve that purpose. Masks are not going to be able to be found, and it is an issue, obviously, that our medical personnel need masks themselves because they are in situations where, when tubing a patient, it is actually aerosoling. If we lose our medical staff, then who takes care of the patients? So they are, in a way, priority about masks. Now, for the rest of us, if we are going to go by the government saying that this is not aerosol, the germs are not in the air around a person, they are only in droplets expelled from coughing and sneezing, then really anything covering the face will work. Okay? Anything thick enough. But keep in mind, if you're in direct line of fire from somebody sneezing, nose and mouth, that's only 2 of the 3 ways their sneeze can reach your membranes. Your eyes is the other one. So go by whatever the government's saying, but take extra precautions. Now, and we're at 20 minutes already. Oh my God. All right. People in metropolitan areas, whether definitely on the West Coast, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, Seattle, Washington, rather, sorry. Lesser extent, Portland and San Diego, and at this point, basically all of Orange County. In the East, New York City and the larger or longer Northeast corridor, that's Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, all right, and everything in between. If you're in those areas, I'm not going to suggest, I'm going to tell you, it's all around you right now. Oh, well, they only say we have 45 cases. No, yeah. 45 people have already spanned the 14 to 20 days where they caught symptoms, actually looked sick, went to a hospital sick enough that the hospital decided to test them. Yeah. But the problem is that for the 14 to 20 days before they went to the hospital, they were sick. They just didn't know it yet. So the people that are going to get sick 14 days from now, they're infected right now or today. And yeah, they'll be on somebody's count 14 days from now when they're gasping for air, have to go to a hospital, and the hospital decides to test them. Then they will be added to the count that you're looking at. But right now, as of 5 minutes ago, that person got infected and they're walking around and they are contagious. So if you're in an urban area, and also if you're in an urban area in flyover country, okay? If you're in Nashville, if you're in Memphis, if you're in Dallas, if you're in Houston, if you're in an urban, suburban area in the United States right now, if you are on the West Coast or the Northeast Corridor, you are surrounded. Let me be real clear, okay? Take it as a given. If you're in any other metropolitan area, you are very likely surrounded. I'm not going to say because it varies, but you are very likely surrounded. If you're in a rural area, do not get into your head that, oh, I got time. It'll be a while before it gets to me. There's 5 cases in Greenland. There's a case about 450 to 500 miles north of Anchorage, Alaska, in Alaska. Do you know what's 450 miles north of Anchorage? Trees and an infected person. Every territory of Canada in the Arctic is now, or subarctic, now has cases. You know who's getting absolutely hammered? French Polynesia. All those tiny little dot islands in the middle of the South Pacific, yeah, they all have cases. So don't think because you're rural that, oh, I got time. You may have time. You may not have time. The thing of it is that you don't know, and you won't until it's too late. So, and I'm being a little, trying to hold your attention here, but I'm being very serious, all right? You're going to see by next week some really bad numbers. Now, as far as the link that's in this description box, and then I'm going to cut this off, because really anything I need to talk about, I can talk about in another video of this. Remember, the last 2 videos went straight to playlist, so you didn't see them, most likely. I don't know if going forward, if I am going to put the videos public or not. I have not decided yet. I really don't want my upload feed filled up with these, but maybe it warrants it. I don't know. In the description will be the Johns Hopkins Engineering map. It's an interactive map, live update map. What you want to do is you want to go, there's countries here. On the right hand side, there's countries. You want to click on the US, wait for it to center on the US, and then you can zoom down. You can roll in with your mouse and zoom in, sort of like Google Maps, on your area, and there will be cases marked. It's not a, it's not a guaranteed. It's not like, these are Johns Hopkins University students and professors putting this together, okay, and collecting data from about a dozen sources to make this map with case locations. So it's not 100% foolproof, but it will be better intel than you have anywhere else. And if you're in a rural area and you want to know if there's any declared cases, this is the place to go. All right? And any intelligence is better than no intelligence. All right? And on that, I am going to go. I do hope you are well. Do take care of yourselves. Mentally prepare and think about what I have said. I will be back with another one of these sooner than later, unfortunately. Do take care of yourselves, and God bless.